Alright, so recently, the Red Bull home grounds, T1 played Cloud9. It was a 3-1, and interestingly, T1 decided to play this comp on Bind. Pull my pen real quick. It's definitely something we haven't seen, and I just kind of wanted to take a look and see how much value Vyse actually got. I think it's easy to just look at Meteor stat line and be like, oh, he played well, he's on Vyse. Vyse provided a lot of value. And I think from the video you'll see that Vyse provided a decent amount of value, but maybe not as much as you think. I think a lot of it came indirectly, and not as much on offense, of course, as defense. And I think you'll agree that maybe had they played Cypher or even Viper, that this score would be even more lopsided, especially given the way that T1 played versus C9. But there's definitely some interesting things to look at for sure. All right, let me go back. So C9 took the first two pistols, or their first two rounds, both pistols. Oh, let me go back.
Picking up the pace, bails out of here before he can really get healed up that much, before he can be taken.
Ooh, I get really good quality. Might actually be able to see on my monitor. It's perfect. Okay, so I think the first thing that you'll see in a lot of these rounds is that T1 is just doing these 5-man hits, and it's basically everyone on one side, and we're using the Vyse wall as a way to watch flank. I think primarily the reason this worked is just because the team doesn't really have any prior VODs to go over. And I think that's kind of what the consensus is with Vyse, especially solo Vyse, is that by herself, she doesn't provide a lot of value unless she's kind of like a one-off, where you can surprise teams. And I think that's kind of what you'll see against C9. Had they had any prior information to go off of, I think the score would have been a lot closer. But I think C9 really expect that this wall is going to be used in post plant, and it never is for T1, which is interesting because C9 weren't really proactive on defense like the entire half. It wasn't until like the last few rounds where they even figure out how they're using this wall. So a lot of times they're just doing this 5-man exec. If Vyse is doing something, it's placing these arc rows right here or right here to try to kind of flash out, or right here again. So it is quick info and it saves them some utility. That's something Viper, I guess a Cypher cam really could have substituted, but that's mainly what Vyse's role was. It's just using the arc rows to clear out some of these angles either by herself or with the team, but usually just playing in this 5-man. And then it was T1 being really good in these post plans. You'll see Buzz gets 2 from the top. I mean, they're able to shut down Oxy's push off this ult. A lot of these rounds come down to either T1 heroics or just T1 playing really well and together. And that's kind of what you saw there.
Yeah, a huge for the players who was Sylvan doesn't have to move. Holding on is that you have the nade in front, you have so much utility falling behind. What he basically did was snake bite underneath.
So here's kind of like maybe the deficits of the Vyse. Go back to the beginning of this round. So because they're in these kind of like 5-man hit positions, again, here's the wall. You'll see it's used to dissuade anybody from really taking that space. But again, C9 aren't really being active. What you'll see is they'll take this initial space and they'll end up running into a stack. and that's kind of why the score was 6-6 at the end of this half, is because without a Viper lurk here to create some pressure, or maybe some more Cypher trips, or just anything else to create pressure on the other side of the map, T1 were constantly gambling and running into stacks, and a lot of times they made it out, but like in this round, they weren't able to overcome how many people were there. So as you can see, running into a 3-stack. Only 40 seconds left on the clock. And I think it's Rozzy who goes crazy here. Takes out Buzz. He's able to get a 3-kill and a 4-piece. So yeah, that's individual heroics, but again, when you can't really create any pressure on the other side of the map, or have this lurk potential with the Viper wall, or maybe even something with Cypher cages to like break off angles so you feel more comfortable pushing into here, there's not really anything on the other side of the map, and T1 are always running into stacks.
Underneath. So the second he sees all of the util coming through, he causes them issue and is able to do a lot of damage onto that site. So just sat in that back corner. Plant will be denied. The Moose has been lost. Now the return.
And here's just a good example of kind of heroics. I mean, this is a 1v4, and look what stacks does to C9. Like, these are the type of rounds you can't usually rely on, and there was a lot of these heroic plays throughout their offensive half. But I mean, that's going to happen when you have such a good mechanical team. Buzz, Stacks, Meteor, all really high quality players.
They're going to have nightmares about that one.
So yeah, maybe 4 pieces aren't sustainable, but it's like they can get away with maybe this comp with gaps just because of their individual mechanics. So here's what I was talking about this wall. So you'll see that the Vyse wall is right here, and this Viper alt. Who is it? Oh yeah, Oxy. Oxy's gonna come and discover, or maybe it's not Oxy, I think it's Rozzy. He's gonna come and discover that the wall's even there, but you know, score is 5-5. Like, this is round 11, where waiting for so long to even realize that this wall is how they're playing it, and what it does is it stops him from even wanting to get past it. He baits it out and then just goes back, and he's going to be late on rotation.
Oh, he hasn't quite spotted Seppa, but I'll tell you what, Stacks did, cleaning up, taking elbow control.
So not a whole lot of value, I would say, from Vyse on this half. I mean, maybe had C9 pressured and been more active on some of these flanks, kind of like what 100 Thieves will do. It would have changed the game a little bit. But mainly just using the flash to kind of take space and maybe save util that you wouldn't have otherwise had if it was a Viper. If it was a Cypher, maybe you could have Cypher cammed it.
I think that's a backbreaker, that previous round.
Alright, and then going to defense. So defense is definitely a lot more interesting. Of course, the Sentinel provides a lot more value. Pretty obvious that that's going to happen. So after C9 win the first 2 rounds. Oh, okay. Too far ahead.
Yeah, instead from because there is a he picked could potentially
further defending the map all T1.
Yeah, okay. So after C9 win those first 2 rounds, T1 just go on a run and win 7 straight to win this match, or win the game, and then go on to win the match. And what you'll see is kind of the interesting Vyse walls that's different than some of the other maps, is you have so many different avenues that the offense can go through that it does really leave them guessing where this Vyse wall is going to be. And so this gets value indirectly by allowing for quicker rotations, and you'll see this for like 3 straight rounds. And it's not even round into, but it's just, you don't really know where it's going to be. They have this interesting wall here, which doesn't allow you to jump out and bait it, except unless you want to just jump out of hookah. So that's a really cool wall. But you can just see how this round goes. I would say mainly this defensive half was just about, like in this case, I believe Brim goes crazy, but their commitment to playing plant denial is really strong. So right here, Stacks goes crazy, great blind, Meteor gets 1-2, and then he takes out Vic. So that's their first buy. Again, so we have the same wall set up. They're not really having to change a whole lot because, well, they haven't even run into it to know it's there.
Slipping away from them, and I like the fact that we're now seeing C9 happy to disrespect the utility of T1, because that's where this game can get out of control. If you respect too much what's there from, say, Sylvan Smokes or the
really slow default by C9. Again, just taking a lot of time off the clock. That's what this comp can do because you don't really know where this wall is. So they get, again, C9 gets this first blood, same as last round. But look how Sylvan plays this. He's just able to maneuver around backside, he gets one. The rotations have already come in and he's taken out 3-4 people. So again, just another individual heroics, but that's something you can expect of a team like this. Maybe not 4 pieces, but okay, same wall again. This time we have a slow hookah play from C9.
And I'm still a bit worried for T1.
C9 have made it work before. It
Let's
certainly
see.
wouldn't be the first.
Yeah, so again, C9 get first blood, taking out someone backside. But then Stacks gets a 1-for-1. Now C9 on not the best buy here, but as you'll see, Buzz is about to get a shot through the smoke and kill the Viper ult, and Meteor's just kind of weirdly placed, and Oxy doesn't expect it. So we turned a pretty winnable round for C9 into just complete destruction, and you fall apart. So as you can see, like, in this round in particular, they didn't even really over-rotate off the Vyse wall. They were pretty slow. But I think they start to recognize it in the round after. Okay, so here's the first round they kind of encounter the Vyse wall. Again, they're playing really slow because they're not trying to get trapped, and you have to sniff it out. And so I think here's when they finally notice it, and they intentionally bait it out. But because you can't break this wall, you now have to wait here an extra 10 seconds. It's like 8 seconds, sorry. But what that does is it stops C9 in their tracks. So literally in the sense of they can't go through because they have to wait. But now they also realize, okay, well T1, if they're 3 here, they had time to over-rotate. So now they're questioning C9, should we even hit this? Because if they do, well, they're probably running into a stack. So now they're just kind of holding, waiting for any, missteps by T1. Again, look how good the stall is. The thorns, I would say, didn't provide a whole lot of value. On attack, maybe they would deter some of these spaces. I don't think I went over that. And then on, defense, the same thing. Just kind of slowing down. As you can see, C9 don't want to go through those thorns. So again, it slows them down for just about 10 seconds. They're really considering, okay, do we hit this? Surely we're running into a 4-stack. So they have to cut noise to even sell that there's time for rotations. They then decide to hit Telly. As you can see, okay, so C9 uses a lot of util, they don't get anyone. They flash through, create some pressure, go back to try to sell that this rotation fakes, and it actually kind of works. Meteor gets 1, and is able to pull off his ult. But then you'll see there's only 15 seconds left on this clock. So now, with the Brim ult that stops plant, now you're down to another, 4 seconds. Let's see when this finishes, 7 seconds, and now you have a couple seconds to plant, and Stacks playing as smart as he does,
The pistols on the
just
majority
goes
of
in the
players.
smoke. I mean, look at Buzz. You can even see he doesn't even care that he's about to die. He's not even throwing his satchel for the guy that he knows is here. He's throwing the satchel for plant denial.
Time is ticking.
And then Stacks goes through the smoke and kills. And now there's not even time to plant. What's his name? Sylvan can go back.
What a round
Doesn't
from
have to
T1.
overgress
Meteor
because
gave
time's
his
up.
life as well to ensure he got
So as you can see,
every
look
rotating
just
player he
how
could,
much stall power
jumping
the
out
Vyse
from a
had
safe
over the
spot
Cypher
into the open
because
and activating the
you
ultimate.
can't destroy the wall.
That puts panic
A
in
trip,
the red. Look at
you
this.
can expect to be there.
But he jumps down.
You can go up,
Wouldn't
you
have
can
been a
destroy the
great play
trip,
anyway.
you can continue, you can nade the trip.
But he jumps
You know,
down,
if they
and
had
that's
maybe a
where the
different comp, they could destroy the
blast pack goes in as
trips.
well. Even from the grave,
You can dog through,
guaranteeing that there will
like,
not be a
but
plant.
the wall,
That
you
kill,
have to bait it.
there
You
was
have to
all
bait it
the
out, and then you
Patrick
have to
didn't work
wait.
out. That blast pack may well have won the round. T1 had their bases covered. 2 rounds, and the blast pack.
So C9 take a timeout. Again, I still don't think at this point they have a great read on how to really take this map. They go for a more spread default, which I think makes a lot of sense. Let me see how they lose this round.
T1 have got a little bit more of an advantage. Operator on Buzz.
So they're looking for the wall here. Don't find it. Again, 40 seconds have already disappeared off this clock. We're having a slow default to maybe bait out some pushes. Some over aggression by T1, but they're playing very disciplined. We still haven't found this wall. We go back a short. Okay, well, we see the wall's not there, but we don't really know who and how many are here at this point. We're going to play it really slow. Try to get this plant down. This smoke makes things very interesting because obviously C9 don't want to plant in there because someone could just run up like Stacks did last round. So now again, we're at 40 seconds. They're losing time. Nade from Buzz comes out. Stops the plant. Someone goes to plant again. Stacks immediately kills him. C9 going to plant. Look at this. You can see it right in the corner of your screen. C9 goes to plant. Buzz again throwing his little satchel to try to stop plant. And I think, did he die too? I know Vic's still alive at this point. So I mean, this is a 2v2. We're finally able to get plant down with 13 seconds. Now this isn't anything atypical. Like, you could have done this just as well with any comp that's not Vyse, but obviously the fact that the Vyse wall is here maybe allows them to feel more comfortable over rotating and stacking. Because as you can see here, I'll go back. And go back, you see normally a lot of times in Bind, because of the threat of the teleports, you'll have 2 people here. But obviously because there's a Senti wall delaying whatever alert could be there, and you still have the arc rows to play around, T1 feel comfortable leaving only 1 person here to anchor. So now that there's more people to fight on site, these trades go a little more favorably. Buzz gets a... Oh, wait, does he... Okay, plan does go down. But now we're in a 2v1. And Vic is in a really uncomfortable spot. T1 still have a lot of utility. And are just able to win.
A split second hurts. But these individual plays, these
Alright, so now we have an op for Buzz, which again is huge, because now it makes this even harder, obviously for offense. They're playing this slow defaulty style, and if they want to take map control, well, now they have the threat of running into the op. So the op combined with the Vyse wall indirectly makes this push a lot harder for C9. Again, they haven't really done anything, and it's 40 seconds off the clock. They don't have much info. They still need to be baiting out this wall. Again, we're looking for the wall hookah. We don't see it. We dog through. We now see that the wall is there. Okay, but here's the interesting part. they figured out the wall was there at the same time that Oxy is going out of hookah, right? So you can see it. Is where they would figure out the wall. Oxy's already out of hookah. So now this is about to be an isolated fight. They see that this wall is here. There's vines right here, which deter the push. Again, I think in an ideal world, C9 just has to come out all at the same time, take the damage of the spikes, but you're not thinking that clearly in the moment. You're like, oh, I'm going to get damaged. I'm going to get slow. There's a wall. We can't possibly go through. Now we've left Oxy on an island. He's dead. The thorns also prevent Vic from wanting to jump out. He gets slowed, put in an uncomfortable spot. Again, Meteor goes crazy, gets 2. But there's 20 seconds now left on the clock. I mean, we baited out the wall, but like at what cost? Because it was so late in the round. Now this is a 2v2 and it's pretty fair, but T1 stop a lot of utility, and they have a lot better position. So he's able, because they know there's nobody left in hookah, he's able to TP. Now he still has his nade for plant denial. Again, T1, very on their game. Sylvan doesn't even wait because he knows there's no time. If he stops plant, he wins. And that's just what all these rounds are coming down to. C9 just being pressured, don't have the time to do anything. And T1 are just really good at denying plant. And I mean, this is the final round. C9 doesn't have a great buy. They're going in pretty much blind. I think this pace is a lot better from them. It's just a little too late because you're just not really prepared on how to deal with Vyse effectively. And let's see where this wall is too. This wall right here. So what that allows Meteor to do is stay in this spot and feel really comfortable. And the second anyone comes to this wall, well, then he can just vine them. So look, he's able to control hookah all by himself just because of how powerful this wall is. Now, personally, I think this wall probably should have been different, but I mean, it doesn't. He could have gotten shot in his back or something. I really had an idea. But it's all good. Look how much time is delayed. C9 go a lot quicker in this round than they should. They don't find the Viper Wall. They deposit Oxy. They don't feel comfortable because they don't have hookah control. And who knows how many people are actually there. So they don't really want to push in. They're waiting for Skywall. Now again, 40 seconds have already disappeared on the clock. They're like, okay, well, do we push this? Rousey takes his timing, not a great one. He doesn't have any info. No one is helping him take hookah control. Meteor obviously gets a really good shot, but again, C9 just running into a 3-stack and are a lot better fighters and win the trades, and then it's just over, given the gun difference as well. So I think overall, like I said before, Vyse probably didn't find the best amount of value, but I think kind of like the new agent factor just played a big part, and C9's inability to adapt. I think maybe a few months down the line, T1 runs this comp again, the score might be a little bit different, but you know, it's kind of a one-off surprise where C9 are backed into a corner and stalled for time, and the ability for Vyse to stall combined with the plant denial that you usually see on Bind made this a very lopsided affair on T1's defensive half.